All right, it looks like we're live. So far we have 0 viewers, but that's okay. I am 34 minutes late. Stuff with errands and things that we had to run this evening. Sorry. Had to run a lot of errands this evening, and we didn't get back until just a little while ago. Heated up leftovers. Got the kids ready for bed. I'm helping my wife, who is about to pop any day here. And yeah, live stream had to wait for just a little while. But that's okay, because this is my live stream and I can do what I have to do. I do have life outside of this. I just want to make being late not quite so consistent as it has been. So, let's get out my little information hub. You guys are going to want to check out the description for this video. There's a lot of stuff down there that we've added, some things actually by Virginia Mollenkott, and one by Phil Stringer that he did recently. And yeah. If you're watching this video, please give it a thumbs up, because that's what I do whenever I watch something by somebody that I want to help support. 5-star rating, like button, and then watch the content. So I would appreciate it very much, especially if you share it, because it's the only way that we can grow. It's the only way that more people can find out about this live stream. It's a little bit darker tonight. I am experimenting with some lighting, not quite sure. And also, I've got an enormous mess here that I have to clean up. So that is not happening tonight because of this, which is okay. Let's see now. Let's get that introduction up here. I'm going to close the door real quick and I'll be right back. Alrighty. There lies, we lost our one viewer twice. There lies behind the modern Bible version controversy a dark and ancient conspiracy that is destroying Christianity this very moment. My name is Joseph Armstrong. Welcome to the Bible version conspiracy. Please like, share, and subscribe. It gives a rash on the backside of the Illuminati mole in your church, and it makes it so I don't have to make fake accounts and subscribe to myself. Get sucked into the conspiracy rabbit hole with us every Friday night around 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, where we are live on YouTube. And hopefully eventually here, Facebook and maybe other platforms, we'll see. Check out the links in the description for information the Illuminati has erased from my memory. And help us go full-time spending long nights with the skeletons in James White's closet at our Buy Me a Coffee page. Link in the description. You guys can become a co-conspirator with us by joining our Buy Me a Coffee page. We are still developing that. We are also developing a website to go along with this YouTube channel. And our promise is to do a nightly live stream on the Bible version conspiracy when we reach $500 a month from our Buy Me a Coffee co-conspirators. Tonight's topic is going to get crazy. There are some things that I want to bring up that I was not aware of. A prayer request for my son that you guys are going to be very weirded out by. And right now, tonight's topic is going to be about Virginia Mollenkott. I believe it's 2 L's and 2 T's, if I'm not mistaken. The New Age, I guess you could say, lesbian transgender person, whatever, behind the new international version, and the influence that she wielded, which was actually greater than translators wielded. We'll get into that in a bit. So, prayer requests. Let's get back to that prayer. So you guys can submit your prayer requests. By the way, I see there's one viewer. Let's make that 2 viewers. Share it with one other person that you think would be interested, and maybe somebody that you don't think would be interested, right? Maybe they'll surprise you. Let's see. Here we go. My nose itches. Prayer list. My Uncle Jim just started taking his medication, which is supposed to help him with his liver cirrhosis. He's actually not that bad right now. His cirrhosis hasn't really taken off, but he's in rough shape mostly because of the ammonia that has gotten to his brain. So please be praying for him. Jemima, the widow that was recently widowed, she has 6 children under 12. Make sure you keep her in prayer. Joseph Jr. and his gut. He is very gluten intolerant. I think I see there are 3 people. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. It was kind of lonely at the beginning of this live stream, starting so late. You know, errands to run and stuff. We didn't get back until just a little while ago, so we had a lot to do with the dinner and getting kids in bed. So thank you for your patience. He got his blood test. Apparently, he does not have celiac right now, which is good. He does need prayer, though. As far as I'm aware, the paranormal did not plague my family growing up. It looks like it might be plaguing our family. We'll have to see. So I might share it later on if I remember to, or if you guys want to hear about the downright creepy thing, literally, that Junie saw laying in bed the other night, ran out screaming and crying, came out and sat with us. Other kids were in bed. He didn't tell us till the next day what he saw. If you guys want to find out what he saw, we're going to be posting that on. We'll probably talk about it at some other point. Please be praying for him. Suffice it to say that it was paranormal. It was possibly demonic. So please be praying for him and for our children and our family as we sleep in our home. So post Junie's dream to BMAC. Okay. And we may also put that in our Facebook group. I'm not sure, but I might ask my wife before I tell everybody about that. So anyways. Destiny with her fibromyalgia, the blanket term, which totally applies to her, and hopefully she ends up getting rid of it by the things we're trying, natural stuff, and her Lyme's, which she is taking a antibiotic for now, which hopefully will help her, and also the birth, which is coming up. She is due tomorrow. which gives or takes a few weeks. Babies don't just stay in there forever. Sometimes they run out of fluid and stuff, and which is like, yes, something needs to happen. But going over is no big deal. Guys, we got to stop panicking just because a baby doesn't hit their due date. The due date is an imaginary, arbitrary date. Give or take a couple of weeks, give or take 3 weeks sometimes. Babies are born healthy. There was one lady way back in Russia, I believe, 1800s or something, and she was pregnant for an entire year. Like a record, guys, and the baby was born fine, normal, developed like any other kid. It just stayed in there for forever. Not saying that's normal, not saying that you shouldn't be checked out, but guys, stop panicking just because of some imaginary date. Oh, let's see. And half the time those are miscalculated anyways, so whatever. Her birth coming up. Chase McDowell, or Chase, I will keep on wanting to say McDowell. Chase Dowell, who is our first co-conspirator, and you too can become a co-conspirator in the link in the description. Buy me a coffee page. That's what we call our members. And the nightly live stream will be for members only. Not saying that every stream will be for members only, but we will be streaming nightly, and a lot of it will be for members only. And that's once we get up to $500 worth of co-conspirators. So join today if you want to help us get one step closer to doing this full time. Please pray for Chase Dowell for the salvation of his parents and siblings. And I already added Ruckman's Church History Volume 1 and 2. I'm going to copy this, or I'm going to cut it. And then we're going to go here. All right, so we are going to pray. If anybody else has any prayer requests that you would like me to add to the sheet, we are going to jump into the crazy hole here in a minute. But if you have anything that you would like us to pray for, please leave it in a comment in the live chat or as a comment after the fact if you want to add a prayer request to have us pray for nightly. Not nightly. Well, technically, I guess. Pray for every Friday night on the stream. Okay, here we go. Dear God, thank you for today, and thank you for everything that you've blessed us with, and please help us to, actually, I forgot about this. Please help us to figure out what's going on with the car and why all the oil was gone. That has never happened before, but please help for that to get figured out and for it not to be too expensive. Please bless Uncle Jim as he is hopefully recovering from this ammonia, which has gone into his brain far too much. And help for him to be able to frame more clear sentences again. He did pretty good the other day, and I'm hoping that his medication will actually help him instead of just hurting him further, which would be good. Please help Jemima, as she is recently widowed as of this year with 6 children under 12. It is not easy for her by any means. And I imagine that she still cries her eyeballs out as she falls asleep pretty regularly. Please help us all to appreciate our husbands and wives more often, because we don't know when they're just going to drop dead like her husband did. And for really unknown reasons. Please help Joseph Jr. Please protect him as he sleeps tonight from the thing that he saw the other night. I believe it was Wednesday night. And please help his stomach, and us as we're trying to get rid of all the gluten and stuff to help him out again. And as we go back into his gut protocol, hope for that to work for him like it did last time. It did wonders for him last time when we had him off gluten, but now that we've done the test and we know as much as we need to know, then please help this time. Help Destiny with her fibromyalgia and her body structure, and the birth coming up and the Lyme's that she's dealing with on top of that. She's got so many different issues with her body, with her health. Please help our children to not inherit those problems and their children and stuff. Lord, please help the genetics to be good and for us to be able to give them proper nutrition so that the negative aspects in their genes don't manifest. And please help Chase McDowell with his family, his siblings, his parents that are not saved. Please help them to come to the knowledge of the truth. Help him to be a good witness to them, not to be tiring, not to be in their face, not to push hard in carnality. Please give him wisdom, and please give his family understanding as they see him and as they hear what he has to say. And please help them to be drawn to your word, maybe through just trying to find answers to things that they can't explain. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, 4 viewers, no comments. That's okay. And if there's any chance that, because I don't know what churches you guys go to, if you could get us added to the prayer list, that would be great in our channel. And it's growth in Christ in his time. And especially since I don't know what we're going to be fighting with a Bible version conspiracy channel. It's going to get weird, I am sure. I'm going to need something to drink, or else I'm going to be patched. Let me see. Hang on. Alrighty. Grape enhanced water. Thank you guys for showing up. You guys. And I've got no doubt that it's the same 4 that come every week. You guys are amazing. Thank you very much for showing up. I appreciate it. If it wasn't for you guys, I would be so discouraged I wouldn't do this at all. Like I said, please don't forget to be subscribed. Make sure that you are subscribed. I've been unsubscribed to a couple different channels that I was like, I was subscribed to these people. YouTube is doing this. It's really strange. Especially to videos that or to content creators that are in my genre. Make sure you like it. Put that little thumbs up. Helps us with the algorithm tremendously. If you want to leave a comment, it helps us as well. Lets YouTube know that there are people watching and people are engaging, and to show this video to more people that are interested in this topic. And the like also does. It will make it so that it pops up on more people's timelines who are interested in these things. And also, if you can share it, even just on your Facebook timeline, there's a little share button. It's shaped like an arrow underneath this video. And you can share it to your Facebook timeline. You can share it in Messenger to people that you know that are King James Bible believers, or people that are interested in conspiracy theories, or what have you. We get into all of them, and we're getting into all of those tonight. Tonight we are dealing with a very interesting person. This interesting person was a she, I guess you could say, named Virginia Mollenkott. She's fairly famous among King James Bible believing circles. because she served on the not on the translating committee of the not on the translating committee of the New International Version. And I'm going to try to keep this as short as I can because, see, we're at 20 minutes right now. Because I need to get up in the morning, honestly. I've got another double. I'm going from 8 to 11. So they like putting those on Saturdays for some reason. It's like they know that I do a live stream the night before. Hang on a second. It's hard for me to read from this distance. PR branch. Hi, Albert. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you mean by PR branch. But thank you for the comment. So, she wrote some very interesting books. Okay, so she was raised Plymouth Brethren. There is a transcript of a talk that she gave in the description, and there's also her acceptance of the Mother Eagle Award, I believe it's called. She was a big fighter for feminism, not only feminism, but also homosexuality and transgenderism and stuff within evangelicalism. So if you see an evangelical Christian church that flies the gay flag or whatever, then that's partially because of her influence. She was a huge mover in the movement and very, very influential. She was, of course, not always known for these things. She came out of the closet, so to speak, over a period of time. It wasn't all just at once. She was raised Plymouth Brethren. She ended up, I think she was abused. I'm not sure how. Probably during her childhood, had an abusive family or what have you. It's probably typical. Was it Plymouth Brethren or no? It was Pentecostal Holiness is what I'm thinking of. Different branch. I'm not sure how closely those two are related though. But anyways, she was raised Plymouth Brethren, I believe. Which I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Aleister Crowley was actually raised Plymouth Brethren, if I'm not mistaken. And if you read about his childhood, he was, the Beast 666, the wickedest man in the world. We all are fairly familiar with Aleister Crowley. Started Crowleyanity, had some very serious witchcraft going on. Just really, really bad stuff, super bad stuff. I believe he was raised Plymouth Brethren, and you can tell from reading his early life with how demonically cruel he was. He was either just straight up possessed from a youth, or he was abused by somebody who was and ended up getting sucked into it. My mind goes back to the Confessionals episode called Demon Boy. I should probably almost add that to the description if I can. Let's see, Demon Boy. Okay. So anyways, I'm not sure where she started being attracted to women. And I also don't know when exactly she came out of the closet. But she did do significant stylistic work on the New International Version. People would think, oh, well, if she wasn't a translator, she didn't bear any influence on the NIV. That's not necessarily true, because if you're a stylist, you're going over the whole thing. You're looking at everything and helping the text along. And if you have a sodomite agenda, then or your lesbian agenda, you're going to not like certain parts of the Bible, let's say. And you're going to have some very strong opinions like she did, and also the chairman of the Old Testament Committee, the NIV, Martin Woodstraw. They both were very adamant that the King James Bible, that the Bible itself has nothing negative to say about people attracted to the same gender. It only says things about people that are like inhospitable, people that are negative toward homosexuals, things like this, which is very, very interesting. Because the King James Bible, if you read it, it's very obvious from its text that it is not aligned with homosexual thought and philosophy and evangelical sodomy and stuff. It doesn't mesh at all. But if you have a modern version, it can slip in there quite easily. Which is interesting because people say that the King James translation was actually the first queer Bible, and that King James himself was a sodomite, which is interesting because he said that the one of the few sins that his son as king was not supposed to forgive were sodomy and witchcraft. And I think there were other things, but anyways, it's interesting how people have come up with these opinions, which are not based in history. I do plan to do a live stream at some point in the future about King James unjustly accused. Future stream on KJ Homo. Okay. Alrighty then. So it's interesting to note all the different spots that New Age Bible versions actually mentions Virginia Mollenkott. We had a fifth watcher on this thing. They were watching the stream, and now we have 4. That's okay. It's okay. Last week we had 6. I think the most I've had all month is 8 people watching it live. And that was only for a little while at the end of one stream. Can I be honest? I feel like giving up a lot. I do. I feel like sometimes I do feel like just forgetting about this whole thing. I like doing it. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes it's just too much on top of everything else that I have to do. And yeah. It's encouraging to hear from you guys, because if you don't comment, if you don't send emails, if I don't run into on Messenger, if none of that, literally it's me and a number staring at me while I talk to the number 4 on my phone. See what this commenter has to say real quick. Didn't the NIV publishers try to downplay her involvement? Yes. Then later she admitted that she influenced the NIV quite a lot. Or she admitted, okay. I just remember hearing Gail Riplinger talk about it some. Yes. And thank you, Chase. I appreciate you as well. My first co-conspirator right there, guys. Chase. Dowell. Give the man a hand. Thank you, Chase. And yes, we're going to get into that whole thing with the downplaying part. Because currently, Phil Stringer actually, I think I might have influenced Phil Stringer. That'd be so cool. Because the King James Bible Research Council, I believe it's called. I don't think it's King James Version. I don't remember. Dan Brown, Phil Stringer are the two major guys in that. And I came out with the live stream that I was planning to do a month or two ago, and this one was coming up. The one on yes, Virginia, there is a Mollenkott behind the New International Version. Obviously alluding to yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. So I saw recently, and I put this link down in the description, where Phil Stringer actually made a presentation on YouTube for the first time. He'd never done it before, and he didn't seem quite prepared to do it. He was missing some books and didn't have this printed. Oh wait, here it is, and things like this. I've never seen him that disorganized, but then again, I haven't seen much from Phil Stringer. I do appreciate a lot of his research, though, which has been helpful for me. We will be criticizing him, though, not necessarily completely always disagreeing with him on the subject, but we will be looking at his book on Gail Riplinger's occult connections in the video where we asked the question. It's a live stream coming up in a month or so about whether or not we have been double-crossed by Gail Riplinger. Okay. Let's see if I can get myself back on track. I really should have blew my nose before I came in here. I think I have tissues. Hang on. Haha! Travel pack of tissues. Never leave home without them, because you never know when your nose is going to get clogged up and be full of nasty boogers. I'm going to turn this off real quick. I think I can do that. Wait a second. Let me try to... Can I mute it? I blow my nose loudly. That's why I did that. And I'm not sorry for it neither. All right. So, is the NIV just one more member of the feminist Bible version family? As a matter of fact, I think it is. There we go. All right, we're going to go back and we're going to go to tags and we're going to go to tags for today's live stream. And we're gonna go here and we're going to search. We're gonna go here. Search by tags. Okay. No, wrong one. Here we go. Why is it not showing me the pages like it did last time? Notebooks, PDFs. Interesting. Okay, 1 second. Praying for your family. Let's see now. Helge, sorry, with the E at the end, it confuses me. Evanson. No, don't be so negative. Look at your videos as something that will stay on YouTube for years and many more people will watch it. Yes, that is true. That is one good thing. Somebody cut out. Oh, wait, they cut back in. YouTube. And that is true. That's one reason why I like this format, because I can just spill everything out of my face and people can come back and they can watch it and my kids can watch it and stuff like this, as long as the YouTube exists. And then I can even download my channel if that ends up being a problem. For many more people to watch it than just those that are watching now. People are at many time zones. That is true. Many different time zones. And the laughing face. Daniel Jones, I look forward to your live streams every Friday. Yes, I second what Chase says. We appreciate your hard work and preparations for these live streams. Praying for your family. Thank you. Jennifer Cook, my husband, watches you a lot and really appreciates all the effort you put in to talk and study. I appreciate that. Now, see, this is nice. This is nice getting some feedback from you guys. I appreciate it immensely. I really do. Let's see. And I go through all the effort of making these tags and they don't seem to want to work. Here we go. Is this going to do it? Yes. I think it worked. Alrighty then. There is one from Joey Faust's book that I want to bring up. Okay. This is from Joey Faust's book called The Word God Will Keep It. There will be a link. There will be a link to it on our coming website. And I believe there's a link in the description of this video if you guys want to check it out. It is 400 years of the King James Bible only movement, which I appreciate very much. Okay, so this is from the PDF, page 160 out of 195. It's in the chapter called, I believe it's called The Most Hated Book is the name of the chapter. So if you guys want to pick this up, you can, if you want to get the PDF, you can go to our website on Buy Me a Coffee, buymeacoffee.com/Joseph Armstrong. And if you go to the shop tab, there will be the different digital products that we have. And one of them is the Joey Faust PDF, which I believe you can either just download or you can name a fair you can name a fair price, or you can pay the recommended price or whatever. So it's very nice it's a very nice format because people can not only just get it for free if they want, they can also make a donation that way too, which is awesome. And it does take stuff to actually do this. I am planning on subscribing to StreamYard for their $20 a month plan, and I don't quite have that pinned down yet, but it's something that I want to do. I especially want to stream in something besides what is a 720p. I would like to do a 1080, which would make this whole experience so much better, I think. Okay, so this is the section on homosexuals. Homosexuals also hate the King James Bible, or at least they abhor the idea that it is infallible. Interesting. Notice the following words of a homosexual theologian, and he quotes Dr. Rembert S. Trueluck, Truluck. The term sodomite in the King James Version of Deuteronomy 23:17 and 1 Kings 14:24 is an incorrect translation of the Hebrew word for temple prostitute. Now, if it was a correct translation, that would be very uncomfortable for him. I don't see where he is really just spewing hatred here. Anyhow, homosexuals adore, not abhor, adore new versions. Why? I would like to see a church that embraces the whole trans thing and everything else like this, that doesn't use a modern Bible version. I would love to see that. That would be fascinating. They participated in producing the New International Version in various ways. Both Martin Woodstra, Woudstra, chairman of the NIV's Old Testament Committee, and Virginia Mollenkott, stylistic editor of the NIV, were homosexuals. And they both were like, nope, it should be a temple prostitute. It should not just be sodomite, because sodomy is not a sin according to the God that we worship, who is an interesting individual, to say the least. And not a very biblical one. Big surprise. It is therefore not surprising that Jim Swilley, Swilley, the homosexual bishop of the church in the now Conyers, Georgia, rejects the infallibility of the King James Bible and praises the NIV as one of the most accurate versions. On his blog, he writes, quote, I wholeheartedly reject the notion of an official authorized version. When I was young, Kenneth Taylor's beautifully accessible Living Bible changed my life and set the course for my whole ministry. Many years later, Eugene Peterson's daring paraphrase called The Message affected me nearly as dramatically. Those are some interesting things right there. Those paraphrases are quite interesting. There. Okay, I think I got it. Just getting down to the bottom of the chat area. Okay. Eugene Peterson's daring paraphrase called the blah 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 blah. In recent years, I have grown to respect today's New International Version for its modernity and clarity and lack of religious sexism. In my opinion, it is probably the most accurate mainstream translation of them all. Ellipsis. You may ask then, if you love all these translations so much, Why write a new one? My only answer is that this writing is my way of paying homage to those who have already blazed the trail of tradition, or the trail of translation, before me. Interesting. So there is, moving forward, a great interest in retranslating the Bible. We'll get into this a little bit further in a bit. And particularly by the people that are having a really hard time with what the King James Bible has to say about certain things. There was one more Joey Faust page that I wanted to bring up, but I'm not seeing it. So let's go back into here and let's search. I must have not tagged it, I assume. Let's clear the clipboard. We don't need what was on it. Search. And we are going to do feminist. Search. Okay. So is there a long history of lesbianism trying to retranslate the Bible? Seems like there is. And guys, when we're thinking about this kind of stuff, we have to bear in mind how lesbianism, homosexuality, stuff like this is not just a thing that teenagers play around with these days. And it's not the only thing that they play around with. They also play around with witchcraft. But traditionally, historically, lesbianism, sodomy, things like this have been occult practices. They are historically very they are one and the same, basically. Brief history. The Jews blamed the cause of the flood. One of the things that they said caused the flood was pre-flood homosexuality. Steve Quayle has a book back here on my shelf. I think it might be True Legends, I think. I think I drew a cartoon on the page. Let me see if I can just whip that up. In which case, we're going to want to add this book to the description as well. Duty, duty, do. Let's see. Is that it? No. So this, hang on, guys. This is going to be interesting if I can find it. If not, as I would love to read it for you guys. It is such a an interesting piece of actually Indian folklore, not East Indian, but Native American folklore, that confirms what the Bible says happened before the flood. We really should get into the different things that are in here at some point. He's really got a lot of stuff. Okay, well, anyways, I'm just going to have to give you guys a brief summation because I'm not seeing what I wanted to see. These things I can't really prepare for because they just pop into my head. And I just go, oh, I should mention this. This would be interesting for them to know and to find out about and for me to talk about and lend so much to this this talk. Can't find it. Okay. So, basic idea is that the Indians have a legend. Remember, the book's called True Legends of giants in their land, homosexual giants that were eating people and stuff, and they ended up getting the supreme god angry, and he wiped them out with a worldwide flood, something like that. Very interesting. The Jews, like I said, blamed it on that stuff. I think Josephus actually talks about too how a lot of the nasty stuff survived the flood. The Bible says that all that was in the dry land that had, in its nostrils the breath of life, that all of it died, that was upon the face of the earth. If it was underground in these, lost civilizations such as Agartha and things like this, which we have tied to Westcott and Hort, loosely, but we're still working on it. If they survived that, then the sodomite traditions that are alive today go back to before the flood. And not only that, Vesta, I believe was her name. She was the goddess that had her temple where Rome sits now, where the Vatican sits on its 7 hills. And she had cross-dressing priests that were men that were sodomites, which is interesting because you have so much sodomy in Roman Catholicism in their priesthood because of their celibacy, which is not a thing. It's kind of a pretend thing. It's not important. It doesn't do anything. Doesn't serve any function, really. Malachi Martin says that it's one of the worst mistakes the Catholic Church ever made was the celibacy of their priesthood. And Lawrence Dunnigan, for some reason, thinks that it was an important thing for the church to have and just really has nothing to say as to why it's important in his interview on, I believe it was Radio Liberty. If you guys want to check it out, I should actually provide that in the description. Let me put the New Order of Barbarians videos playlist. Sweet. Okay. We're going to get in some crazy places, guys. I can see there are 6 people watching. Thank you so much for showing up. This is going to get weird, guys. This is going to get weird. Okay. So, New Order Barbarians. It is 11:30 here right now. Let's go back to Joey Faust's The Word God Will Keep It. Okay. So that's a brief history of the sodomy thing. And also, we might reference this book again later. I hate to just be like, wave the book around, go buy a copy. I haven't even read this book yet. I hate doing that. I would love to have the kind of time that it would take to read all of these. I would love to even just convert them into PDF and be able to listen to them myself. I would love to get permissions to read them and distribute an audio version of whatever of these things. There's just so much that I want to do that I don't have time to do. That's why doing this full time, I would not be bored. That's for sure. And by the way, if this channel never ends up being my full-time thing, this stuff will never get done. This channel will not go where it can go. The Bible version conspiracy will not. The thing that's happening, I believe, happening behind the scenes, it won't be exposed more than likely. You know, there are many things out there, like, for instance, people are familiar with the Patch the Pirate adventures. Ron Hamilton died just recently, and if he decided that he didn't have the support that he needed, that he didn't have the inspiration, that he didn't, that he didn't want to do these things, that he was tired of doing it and gave up. If he gave up on the first few songs, if he was only able to do a patch adventure, then there wouldn't be thousands of people that have been influenced in a good way from his music and from his Patch the Pirate adventures. If people refuse to get behind things, it's very hard to get something off the ground, and most people have great ideas, but they just quit because they lack encouragement. So yeah, just saying again, if you want to become a co-conspirator, if you want to buy us a book, go to our Buy Me a Coffee page, links in the description. $7 a month is our membership program, and you get the official title of co-conspirator, and I'm still working on some perks for you guys, but for now, it's all top secret stuff, and you get discounts on our products. Anyways, from 50% to 100% off our digital products. All right. This is from Sarah Moore Grimke. Grimke. Quote, and this is a we'll read about it in a second. She's one of the early feminists that disliked the authorized version. And many people have testified that feminism has ruined their lives, by the way. Feminism, according to G.K. Chesterton, is the movement that teaches women to be anything but feminine, is what feminism is. It's an interesting thing, because feminism, you would think, it's so opposite. It's backwards. It's going, you need to emphasize women. Women are important. They are trodden down. They are not appreciated enough. Yes, I agree. A lot of the time, yes. But for sure, they're not appreciated enough, I'll tell you that. It goes from that to, you should stop being a woman and you should be a man. Okay, so we're emphasizing women, but then we're emphasizing women by turning them into men. So hang on a second. So what you really want to do is you want to get rid of women. Correct? This is literally what's happening. I believe almost, quote, I believe, this is from 1838. I believe almost everything that has been written on this subject, that is the sphere of the woman, has been the result of a misconception of the simple truths revealed in Scripture, in consequence of the false translation of many passages of Holy Writ. My mind is entirely delivered from the superstitious reverence which attached to the English version of the Bible. King James's translation certainly King James's translation translators certainly were not inspired. The translators certainly were not inspired. I therefore claim the original as my standard, believing that to have been inspired. Interesting, because in 1838, the early feminist Sarah Moore Grimke and I don't know much about her. I say it, you know, take it with a grain of salt. It's not tongue in cheek. I say it with a grain of salt because I don't know about her. Joy Foss's estimation of her is that she was an early feminist, and she probably does have a prominent place in early feminism. But she believed, just like anybody today that would not claim to be a feminist. They're just all in agreement with an early feminist on this point. Oh, well, she believed something that was correct. It's just a given fact. She's simply an intelligent individual. Okay, I'll give you that. That's from Letters on the Equality of the Sexes in 1838. This is another clear testimony from testimony that the KJV only was alive and well in 1838. Sarah Moore Grimke was an early feminist who disliked the authorized version when it came to certain commandments concerning women. Years later, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, who published The Woman's Bible, 1895, with feminist notes wherein she mocked biblical inspiration and called for women and society to abandon the Bible altogether. This is Elizabeth Cady Stanton. Her publication prompted the Chicago Post to write, quote, "The attack of the new woman on the King James Bible will be observed with interest where it does not alarm." End quote. We can behold in all of this a constant pattern. Those who cannot endure the plain sound doctrine of the AV, that's authorized version, 2 Timothy 4:3 and Proverbs 8:8-9, usually end up attempting to revise it to fit their own lusts. One keen observer had already called attention to this fact in 1830. This is 100 years before the Seventh-day Adventist guy supposedly founded King James Onlyism, by the way. And this is just giving you guys a little bit of background about the feminist Bible translation stuff that has gone on in history, especially since a lot of and I could just keep going with this. This goes on. This section goes for several pages of the PDF. 1838 is the year that you're going to want to look under. It's the first entry for 1838. This is from W.T. Brantley, the Columbian Star and Christian Index. Quote, "We may consent to go with them as far as the old version will authorize. But when we shall have arrived at this limit, they, ellipsis, substitute a new version, ellipsis. The Unitarian, finding the old version rather a dead weight upon them, constructed a new dress for the Testament, ellipsis. And now Mr. Campbell has a new version." I believe that would be Mr. Campbell of the Campbellites, Church of Christ, Lipsis. Why is it that all inventors, innovators, become tired of the old version and seek new ones? All the people who are like, no, we think you need to be baptized in our water. No, we think that we're the 144,000 and that Jesus Christ is not God. No, we don't think that sodomy, there's anything wrong with that. We don't think Romans 1 was correctly translated in the King James. No, we think we want a new version because the King James Bible, that guy right there, does not synchronize with what we want it to say. So we're going to make it different. How about not? Because that's not what somebody who believes in truth does. They don't make their own translation to say what they want it to say. None of the leaders of hereticals in brackets, innovation, so far as we know, have remained contented with the old-fashioned book in its present dress. End quote. W.T. Brantley, The Columbian Star and Christian Index, 1830. And we could go on. Page, and then down toward the bottom of the third page, you finally get to the second entry on 1838. He has 3 entries for 1838. All about these King James only individuals and people that fought against them for 350 years. And then 400 in the present time. Let's actually go back my files. Let's tag that page really quick, because I don't think I did that. Yeah. Okay, tagged. Let's see. So, and there was always a huge thing with the New International Version, the TNIV, and their, you know, men and women, not brethren, and you know, just different things like this, or father, mother in the Lord's Prayer. It's one of the modern representations of the liberalism that we see back then, just getting worse and worse and worse until now. I'm trying to remember. There was a pretty solid tie that I had found between the NIV and Satanism. Can't remember what it was. I'll have to think about it. But I don't know if there's anybody that watches this that is... There is one person who was formerly involved in, you know, the bad stuff. That could testify how deeply how deeply lesbianism and sodomy is ingrained in black witchcraft and things like this. There was a guy that we used to go to the church where he went, and then he ended up not going after a while. But when we knew him, he would tell us about his life before he got saved and everything. And he said that he was getting involved in sorcery. And he said, he told us this in the basement of the church. He said that, and this was like at a, church function dinner thing probably. He said that when he was learning about sorcery, the people that were teaching him said, now, if you want the really powerful stuff, you want to start getting involved in homosexuality. If you want to get real power. And he's like, nope, I think I'm good. Bye. So he got out of there pretty fast after that. Oh, let's see. Oh, yeah. And then Bill Schneblin. In his book, around here somewhere. This is in the description. It's called Lucifer's Dethroned. It's also going to have a little spot in our library. When our website is finally done, we'll have a list by category of different books we recommend. He says in there, there's not a chance. There's not a chance that I'd be able to find this. Is there? Waltz of the Sadducees, the infrastructure of Satanism, dealing with the Brotherhood, into the belly of the beast. What would it be? No, I'm not sure which one it would be. Yeah, the chapter's not really standing out to me. Anyways, he met a guy lecturing on some sort of science that would probably be called pseudoscience. Very intelligent guy. Kind of reminded me of, the description kind of reminded me of Professor Challenger from The Lost World by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Stocky, things like this. And, a very powerful presence. And he was very involved in, I guess it would be Transuguthian, which would be beyond Pluto magic. Crazy stuff. And he was a predatory sodomite that preyed on Bill and his friend when they went there to try to learn different things from him. And he said that the ceremony that he put them through was very high church. He described it as very high church, like Anglican, I suppose, and probably better to not describe it, he said. I believe that took place in his living room, and his bedroom was far more horrifying. He offered them to spend the night in his bedroom, and they were just like, nope, that's okay. We'll probably sleep on the couch. The plants that this guy had looked like they were from another planet. They apparently moved in, they kind of looked person-ish. They moved in a provocative way. This guy had devils up to his eyeballs. And he said basically that, and he never got drunk. He drank He drank as much as he wanted to. He would never get drunk. And he said the key to that was basically just to be so full of demons that they get drunk instead of you. So yeah. And sodomy is one step closer to this end goal that's staring us in the face with, man-boy love and stuff like this. It just keeps going further and further and further. You accept one thing, we're going to want something else. It's going to get bad. Eventually, it's going to wind all the way down into cannibalism, guys. And torture and unwilling torture being legalized. And you might think, oh, well, that's never going to happen. It will. It has been already. Ringing any bells? Homosexuality in the Nazi Party. We don't have the time to get into the Vril Maidens and the Thule Society and homosexuality in the Nazi Party and just everything connected with that. Oh my goodness. Highly recommend Scott Lively's stuff. I think I put the link in the description. cardcarryingchristians.com/most famous gay, I believe is the URL address. So the link's down in the description if you want to check out the stuff there by Scott Lively and other people. Who is the most famous homosexual in history? Well, the guy that is apparently famous for persecuting homosexuals back in Nazi Germany. So, wasn't the King James Version the first queer Bible? No. And we'll be getting into the book at some point here. King James Unjustly Accused. In the meantime, you guys can check out, if you have a copy of In Awe of Thy Word. It's got a lot of good stuff in there about him and his godly character and things that he wrote. I'm not sure how much of King James's stuff was ghost written. I do not know. And I think we put, I don't remember if we put the links for the oh, what's it called? It's too late, guys. It's too late. I'm getting tired. For King and Cabal. For King and Cabal playlist. Okay, I'll have to add that too. And we'll deal with that at some point in the future. Did Virginia Mollenkott advocate switching God's imagery from holy male to holy female? Like holy as in completely? No. At least not at the point where I picked up on her. She had a speech which was called A Vision of Liberation and Confession. And we posted part of that to our community tab. If you guys go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Bible Version Conspiracy, or you can hit the little our little Bible Version Conspiracy name underneath this video. It'll take you right to our channel. And we made a post about how Virginia Mollenkott was asked a question about whether or not she thought we should switch all of the imagery of God from male to female. And she said no, because at this point in what she was saying, she doesn't actually believe that God is feminine either. She thinks that apparently he is beyond gender, which is something that is very common even today. And she said that she wants people who particularly had abusive fathers that would want to think of God as their good father, that sometimes they have a defective imagery when they hear the word father. and that sometimes mother might be more comforting to them, but then it's like, it's not, doesn't change things, it doesn't justify things. It's like, and there have been people that I've heard of that have had issues with that, but then there's also other people that haven't had a father, and they're just like, because their mother was abusive, and that's kind of the essence of what she's saying. If they have abusive mothers, let them have a father. If they have abusive fathers, let them have a mother as God. It's like, yeah, if you get to make up your own God, then okay, got it. But just because of abuse doesn't mean that we get to invent characteristics of the one who invented us. So I highly recommend that you guys check out the, he goes into some details that I have not touched on tonight, as far as Virginia Mollenkott's beliefs, her writings, just crazy things, guys. It's down in the description. It's Phil Stringer's video on Virginia Mollenkott. I think there's only like a couple of videos in the actual description, the video part of the description under this video. I believe that's the only one by Phil Stringer. So she wielded a very heavy influence on the New International Version because she did get to comment on the entire Bible. She did get a lot of what she wanted, she said, but she did not get everything that she wanted out of the New International Version. Surprisingly enough, when I go to James White's book on the King James only controversy, which Virginia Mollenkott is one of the huge things that King James only is complain about. When I look for Mollenkott, I see marginal notes, Mishnah, Morgenstund hat Gold im Mund, Muslim invasion, National Council of Churches. There's Phillips Taft, there's Grenville Sharp, there's Charles Haddon Spurgeon, there's Peter Ruckman, there's Theodore Beza, there's Robert Barker, Augustine, Arthur Farstad, Gordon Fee. No Virginia Mollenkott, not even in the V's. Lorenzo Villa, or Valla, Curtis Vaughn, von Soden, Konstantin von Tischendorf, D.A. Waite. No mention of Virginia Mollenkott. If you guys get a chance, pick this book up. This is a transcript of the New Order of Barbarian tapes. In it, it talks about how the Bible will be fixed to support a one-world religion. Changing the Bible through revisions of key words. In order to do this, the Bible will be changed. Set up this new religion. Blending all religions, the old religions will have to go. In order to do this, the Bible will be changed. It will be rewritten to fit the new religion. This is Lawrence Dunnigan talking about how Richard Day spilled the beans on the New World Order, the New Order of Barbarians. Gradually, keywords will be replaced with new words having various shades of meaning. Sounds like the shift from good old Bible stuff to transy stuff, which eventually she figured out, oh, I'm actually transgender when she was older. Interesting. Keywords will be replaced with new words having various shades of meaning. Then the meaning attached to the new word can be close to the old word. And as time goes on, other shades of meaning of that word can be emphasized, and then gradually that word replaced with another word. I don't know if I'm making this clear, Lawrence says, but the idea is that everything in Scripture need not be rewritten, just keywords replaced with other words. And variability in meaning attached to any word can be used as a tool to change the entire meaning of Scripture, and therefore make it acceptable to this new religion. Most people won't know the difference. And this is another one of the times where he said, the few who do notice the difference won't be enough to matter. Right now, we are at 3 visitors. We were at 6. We actually hit 7, which is impressive for us. Guys, the only way that there's going to be more people watching this is if you share the stream. I hope to come up with shorter videos that you guys can actually use. I've got some ideas in the making, so we will see how that works out. But yes, please share this with people that you think would be interested. Share it with your friends, share it with your enemies. I don't care how you share it, just share it, get it out there. Or else it's just going to be me and you forever in this not exactly conversation-y conversation. The few who do notice the difference won't be enough to matter. Like Gail Riplinger, she wasn't quite enough to matter. The churches will help us. Then followed one of the most surprising statements of the whole presentation. He said, quote, some of you probably think the churches won't stand for this. And he went on to say, the churches will help us. There was no elaboration on this. It was unclear just what he had in mind when he said the churches will help us. In retrospect, I think some of us can now understand what he might have meant at the time. I recall then only thinking, no, they won't. And remembering our Lord's words when he said to Peter, thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell will not prevail against it. So, yes, some people in the church might help. And in the subsequent 20 years, we've seen how some people in churches have helped. But we also know that our Lord's words will stand and the gates of hell will not prevail. This is a Catholic talking. Oh, and did I mention that page 20, homosexuality also was to be encouraged. People will be given permission to be homosexual. That is the way it was stated. They only have to hide it. No, wait, they won't have to hide it. And elderly people will be encouraged to continue to have active sex lives into their very old ages, just as long as they can. Everyone will be given permission to have sex, to enjoy however they want. Anything goes. This is the way it was put. And I remember thinking, how arrogant for this individual, or whoever he represents, to feel that they can give or withhold permission for people to do things. But that was the terminology that he used. In this regard, clothing was mentioned. Clothing styles would be made more stimulating and provocative. Interesting. And he goes on. And the main reason behind encouraging homosexuality and anything goes and stuff like this is because you, like Richard Day said, you can't stop people from doing the deed. You can't. So instead of telling them not to do it and then them just doing it anyways and them having babies and things, then encourage it as much as you can, all the time, constantly. That will make it so there are less population, less children. Abortion, morning after pills, things like this. You can have those. Oopsies, you're going to have a kid. Or you won't, because it happens so much that we have to come up with a way for this not to happen. That way is these abortifacients and abortions. So if you encourage anything goes, then, and especially if you encourage it with members of the same sex, then you're going to have even less population being created. He has a lot to say on population control. Highly recommend that you guys check that book out there. Let's see. I never was able to find the spot in Blind Guides. I was going to sit down before the stream and find it, but I should be able to find it quickly. What I want to do is I want to buy a copy of Blind Guides for... And we didn't even get into the origin stuff and the things that New Age Bible Versions has to say about Virginia Mollenkott. They say apparently that, oh, well, when they found out, you know, what exactly she was and what she wanted to do and things like this, they just kicked her off the board. Did they now? Or is that just kind of a stop thinking about it statement? Because later on she wrote, I think it may have been a letter, I'm not sure. But she defied anyone. I would love to read what she had to say about her time on the NIV committee. But she said that she would defy anyone to show where she was let go from the New International Version translating project. I am not seeing what I want to see. I've got to take more time to put these streams together. There's only so much time in a week, guys, really. And you guys are seeing the very early stages of this stuff. I mean, technically, we're still very early. I think we've only got like 20-some, I believe, streams out so far. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. So, but she had something about what I just told you in there. I just wanted to see if I could read it for you guys. I appreciate you guys sticking around this entire time. It's very impressive. I want to see if maybe I can get to the few things that I wanted to. And it's hard to have the energy to be able to provide you guys with a riveting, attention-grabbing experience, especially when it is 12:08 at night and I have to work with the rain delays. I'll probably be into the AM. It's going to be a long shift tomorrow. Oh, let's see. Tags. Page 161 of the 2020 edition, Image of the Beast, has some interesting stuff on virgin worship. Edmund Leach, Alexander Hislop, Virginia Mollenkott. Ay, ay, ay. God's Voice, Male or Female, on page 96 of the 2020 edition, where it talks about Virginia Mollenkott, the NIV stylist, computational linguists, Dr. Neil Crowetz, the Department of English and Math and Computer Science at the Illinois Institute of Technology. And more words signify not only a female voice, but also deception. And the reason that it signifies deception is because when you're nervous, you tend to use more words to cover yourself up. And women, usually when they talk, not saying that they're constantly talking and stuff like this, but more so that they have a tendency when they speak to speak in such a way as there are more words incorporated to say the same thought, as where men are more terse. They tend to be more terse. And that's quoting from Gender, Genre, and Writing Style in Formal Written Texts. Let's see. There's a little bit on Virginia Mollenkott and reincarnation and the transmigration of souls on page 398 of the 2020 printing. And also I was like, didn't Origin have something to say about transmigration of souls? And yeah, he did. It was one of his main things, being a basing the Holy Trinity also on Middle Platonic triadic emanation schemas, schism. I don't know. Basically, you know, the Gnostic emanation or emanations from God in creation and stuff. He believed in pre-existence and the fall of souls, which also apparently was a Virginia Mollenkott thing as well, where you could talk to the spirit of the baby that was going to be a child and tell it why it wasn't a good time right now and get it to agree to an abortion and stuff like this. And it's just like, interesting. Sounds like you're either making that up, which I don't trust you, or you're crazy, which I don't trust you, or you're talking to a devil, which I don't trust you. Maybe it is a thing. I don't know. Maybe there's a soul recycling program that I'm not aware of that I was a part of. I don't know. Sometimes I've tended to think that joy is on the back of my leg because in a former life or something, I had it tattooed on the back of my leg. I've really got no idea. Doesn't sound biblical though. Let's see. And she didn't really have a firm grasp on it either, it doesn't seem. She says in her Sensuous Spirituality, page 16, perhaps myself, capital S, has been on Earth before in other bodies, perhaps not. So yeah, transmigration of souls, multiple ages, the eventual restoration of all souls to a state of dynamic perfection in proximity to the Godhead. Internet Encyclopedia of Philosophy. Origin of Alexandria. Which he was battling Gnostics and pagans all the time, but he ended up trying to offer Christian alternatives to a lot of what they said, so he ended up getting kind of Gnostic too, so it was like, yeah, stuff and stuffers. What spirit prompted the NIV to substitute the word the Spirit for the Holy Spirit? The NIV's Virginia Mollenkott, in her book Sensuous Spirituality, lists, quote, a variety of methods for hearing the Spirit. Page 13 through 19 list these as automatic writing through a spirit guide. Interesting, because that's how a lot of cults have started, and false translations of scripture and things like this. Divination through the use of the I Ching and tarot cards, which there have been occultists that I have heard of that have become Christian pastors who are like, nope, I'd rather deal with a Ouija board than tarot cards. And occult. A Course in Miracles, psychotherapy, okay, and some mildly mystical experiences, and finally an ongoing relationship with the spirit of her dead mother, which I've told you guys about. The one confessionals episode where the guy saw his grandfather in his dream. A dream. If you guys want to know more about that, I can make a video specifically about that if you want. Just leave a comment as to if you want me to make a video about meeting a devil disguised as your grandfather. Quite literally. Oh, let's see. Diana, the Mother and Queen, the Mother, the Queen, and the Force. That's on page 135 of the 2022. Interesting. I think that she might be quoting Blavatsky. The last initiated father of the church, Origen, died carrying with him into his grave the secrets of the pagan temples. Diana, the one mother of God, having her place in heaven, her occult aspects and powers are numberless. The Mother of God. That sounds familiar. Huh, and there's 7 of you guys right now. That's amazing. Let me look up that reference real quick just to see who she's quoting. 21. Yep, Blavatsky. HPB. Okay. There's one other thing that I really wanted to bring up. Where is that chart? So I don't really like how she necessarily quotes Hort here. This cannot possibly mean the sufferings of Christ. End quote. Wow. FJA Hort is denying that Christ suffered. Not really. Found the quote in Christological Peculiarities in the first epistle of Peter by John Cowper Granbury, PhD, from Philippi, West Virginia. He quotes Hort as saying, quote, and this is in the context of Old Testament saints looking forward to the New Testament and seeing a suffering Christ. Hort apparently does not see how they would see a suffering Christ here, even though he did suffer historically. Quote, this cannot possibly mean the sufferings of Christ in the sense of the word, i.e. the sufferings which, as a matter of history, befell the historical Christ. So it doesn't really seem like Hort is denying that Christ suffered there. And I kind of agree with Mollenkott here. She says, I can no longer worship in a theological context that depicts God as an abusive parent and Jesus as the obedient, trusting child. First of all, from that sentence, I cannot deduce that she was like, oh, nope. In the Bible, God was abusive, and Jesus was just, he was a victim of God the somethings, I guess, according to her. Vindictiveness against humanity. From reading this quote more carefully, and it's from reference 110. Breaking it down, it says, I can no longer worship in a theological context that depicts God as an abusive parent and Jesus as the obedient, trusting child. I can no longer worship in a theological context that depicts God. So this context is depicting God as an abusive father. How so? It's going and saying, I am doing this to you, just like God did this to Jesus. So, in that twisted way of Bible interpretation of some kind, you can justify, like, what's his face, Combs from Hyles Anderson College, putting how many scars on his adopted daughter's body with a lot of help from his wife. Not just, not like you're misbehaving. Oops, I put a scar on you, but this kid was also his concubine kind of thing. You know what I'm talking about? So yeah, Hyles Anderson guy busted. How deep does this stuff run, really? Because when you're part of the Plymouth Brethren, not saying anything against them, not saying that they're all screwed up, but if you're part of the Plymouth Brethren and your father is misrepresenting God to you and is being abusive to you, it's probably not best to remain the obedient, trusting child. If you're putting yourself in danger, if things are happening that are just wrong. I mean, there's a big difference between you not wanting to take out the garbage or clean your room, or your dad in a fit of rage calls you a name or something like this, or who knows what, any number of things that can be considered abusive today, whatever. Like you're being abused, not correctly used at all by your parents, your father, whatever, adopted, whatever else. That kind of stuff needs to stop, and it is very prominent in Christian circles. Not only that, but in King James only circles. It is. Hyles Anderson was a hotbed for that kind of thing, and I don't know how much they are right now. The fastest growing, we're spreading the gospel and all this stuff, and yeah, what else is going on? I would love to do a whole thing on the things that I have heard about the place. I don't want to keep people from necessarily going there if everything is okay now. I don't know how things are right now, but guys, it sounds like the schools and monasteries from the Middle Ages, where everyone was being sexually abused by everybody else. Not good. Okay. And yeah, we've talked about the difference between Erasmus being a Roman Catholic priest who was against what the Roman Catholics were doing, and how that differs immensely from a Jesuit-inspired critical text where they are defending the evil that lurks in, you know, trying to see if there's anything else that I really wanted to include. NIV, ESV, HCSB et al. 1 Corinthians 6:9. Omit effeminate. Oh yeah, that's right. Because that's in a so-called effeminate king's version. Effeminate people not inheriting the kingdom of God. Interesting. Male called prostitutes in Deuteronomy 23:17, 1 Kings 15:12, 22:46, and 2 Kings 23:7 on sodomites in the King James Bible. Perverted persons, New King James Version in the Old Testament. The King James, they are called sodomites. The NIV's Dr. Virginia Mollenkott jabs. My lesbianism has always been a part of me. Jabs. I'm not sure. Why she is saying that she jabbed that? Not positive. Her pro-homosexual book is The Homosexual My Neighbor, echoes her NIV's assertion that the Bible censures only criminal offenses like prostitution and violent gang rape, not sincere homosexuals drawn to someone of the same sex. So in other words, Sodom and Gomorrah was not destroyed with fire from heaven. Interesting. Because remember, in the Jewish tradition, one of the things that caused the flood was pre-flood sodomy, which of course would have been linked to the giants and the religion of the giants, which is, sorcery and things like this. The sin of Sodom and Gomorrah was not unhospitality. It was not, the sodomy and stuff like this. It was the threat of the violent gang rape that was going to happen if the people of Sodom got their way. And since God doesn't destroy the entire world with water anymore, with the waters of a flood, which shows that it could not have been a local flood because he said that he would never flood the whole world again. So you're never going to have a local flood again or something? So they were destroyed with fire. Guess what's coming? Guess what our world is like now? Yeah. Get ready to get out. It's interesting to note that, I believe it's Josephus that writes this, that Adam prophesied that the world would be destroyed once by fire and once by water, but he didn't know which one came first. There was a pre-flood author that postulated, based on the amount of floods that were occurring before the flood came. He saw all these local floods coming up all over the place, and he's like, if the world's going to be destroyed by water, this is a pretty good precursor. It's pretty good foreshadowing. 12:30, guys. I got to go to bed. I've got to. So he was like, I think the destruction by water is first. And then with all of the forest fires out of control, all of the fires that have been happening so often these days, huge ones. In my entire life, I've never had smoke as much in one summer. We got so much of it coming down from Ontario right now, it's not even funny. And guess who's passing all these interesting laws? Lots of smoke inhalation, not good for you. Stay inside, stay away from it. And it sounds like the foreshadowing, the preparation for a really big forest fire is coming. Preparation's already here. It's getting scary. We've been going for an hour and 57 minutes. That was on page 191 for the effeminate chart. And yes. Oh, wait. What was that? Get back here. I almost forgot about this one. This one's like, ooh, you guys are going to be happy you stayed to the end. I like doing this, where the people that stick around, here's a bone for you, I think it's a good system because it's kind of like a reward. Let's see. No. 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 So yeah, Origen was a Neoplatonist, much like Westcott and Hort, apparently. No, we were just there. No, we already looked at that. Here we go. Image of the Beast. I forgot this part. Edmund Leach concludes that virgin worship occurs where there is an immense gap between the ruler and the ruled. Interesting. And that is reference 25 on page 116. Let's look at that reference real quick. Reference 25 is Michael P. Carroll, The Cult of the Virgin, from Princeton, page 28 to 29. An immense gap between the rulers and the ruled. If that doesn't apply today, I don't know what does. Wow, guys, I tell you what. All right. So Mark Ward wrote an article that I want to respond to here soon about the Sacred Slate Star or something, I forget, but that'll be an interesting one for escaping the trap of King James onlyism. And I've got more than enough videos that I want to react to, so that would even be a good nightly live stream just to react to videos. Let me see what you guys are saying. I'm actually going to pull this right off of my tripod. And we'll see what you guys have to say. Jennifer Cook, thank you for your kind comment again. The Native American legend you talked about reminds me of the Nephilim. Yep, that's right. They are trying to change the truth of God into a lie so they can justify their sins. 100%. Romans 1:25. Baphomet is both sexes. Yep. The Father, Son, and Holy Ghost are all in the Old Testament by other titles, if not mistaken. Hi, neighbor. So back to that Trinity thing, there is a lot to be said for the Old Testament understanding of the Godhead. It is a fascinating thing to get into. Ken Johnson talks about it quite a bit. I've got to really nail it down and do a page for that. I am sincerely thinking of dropping card-carrying Christians because I don't think I have the ability at this point to take it where it needs to go. A lot of cards to be printed, a lot of shipping, a lot of designing, a lot of... I don't know. But, and also the website is expensive, but I do have 2 supporters that give us quite a bit of money every month. 35 and like 60 or something like this. One of my friends from Missouri and my in-laws. So they help a lot. But I don't want to be taking their money for nothing. I don't know. It's a real... that one's a real struggle for me. I want to keep going with this. I love doing this nightly. I just don't know if I can do the cards ministry. I've got an idea for how it might work, but I don't know if it's feasible right now. We'll have to see. All right, I appreciate you guys hanging around. I appreciate you guys listening to me blabber on and on about something that I was obviously not prepared for and not the best informed. You guys can check out the things down in the description of the video down there. If you're on mobile, it'll be that little more link that will drop down the description. If you're on laptop or desktop, it'll be underneath the video. There's a little arrow that'll bring down the rest of the description for you guys to check out. Books, links, videos, things like that. If you guys have any questions at all, you guys, or comments, anything you guys want to see me make videos about, what have you, you guys can email me at the email, which is right there. Doink. Have a good night, guys. I'm going to go to bed, and I'm going to prepare for a long shift tomorrow. What would that be? 8 to 8 would be 12, 15-hour shift, something like that. Fun times. Have a good night. God bless.